Hi, 8th grade. So today is going to be our video on HTML and CSS. And so I'm using this slideshow and you'll be asked questions along the way. So HTML is the language that we use to code a website. This is how my website gets all the words, it gets all the text, the headings. So if I view a website, so let's just go to a random website like, for instance, Vera Bradley. It doesn't really matter. We're going to go to a random website. All this content, these words, these buttons, this search box, all of that is put on there by HTML. Okay, so it's the language that codes the content. It does not code the colors. Some of the images aren't coded that way. Things that are pretty, like font color, like making that pink or like that, or making this pop up that color, the different colors of text, or the font choices, those are not HTML. Those will be a different language. But the first language that we're going to talk about is HTML. What does HTML stand for? It stands for Hyper Text Markup Language. Okay? When I type code, the HTML is always surrounded by these, I'll call them brackets, or we call them tags in coding. You might in math class know them as the greater than and equal to sign. They're right above your Alt and your Control key on your Chromebook. And then on the desktop too, they're right at the bottom of your keyboard row. I've highlighted on this slide all the coding language. Okay, all the HTML. And on the other computer, you can see what that coding language makes appear on my website. So we're going to practice that when I show you my text editor. So I'm going to show you my text editor. I'm going to type some code. I'm going to type the body tag. Okay. I'm going to type an H1 tag. I'm going to say Miss Watts. Close H1. Then I'll type something like a paragraph and say, we are learning HTML today in STEAM. And then this symbol. Okay, and then I'm going to use another body. What you can notice about what I typed is it comes up here on my website. This is what my website would look like because of what I've coded. You notice the tags is what we call them, the tags. The coding language comes in pairs. So you'll notice this code right here, body, has a matching one down here. And the H1 has a matching one right here at the end of it. And then the P has a matching one at the where I want to stop the paragraph. So every tag has a partner. We call them the open tag, and the one with the backslash is called the close tag. For every open, you will have a close to shut that section off. So wherever I end, H1 stands for my main heading. Wherever I stop my main heading is where I close my H1. Wherever my paragraph stops, I close my P. So if my paragraph had another sentence, I love to code, that's still in my paragraph. And anything that I want included in my paragraph would go in those tags. My body tag opens and closes my entire website. So the body tag will span your entire website. So my body will start my website, and wherever my close body tag is, that will be where my website coding stops. Okay? So let's move forward. It codes the content. What you've noticed is when I look at my website, there's nothing pretty. There's no red, there's no green, there's no fancy font. It is simply the words that I want to appear on my website that I have coded in this language called HTML. it puts the content or the words, the major pieces of your website on your website. Now, it can put things on your website. For instance, I can code a button like they had on that Vera Bradley one and have it say, like, let's say, like, and I have a close button. So now you notice there's a button on my page. Okay, it doesn't do anything, but it's there. So I can code things to appear. And that's content. So just not the pretty stuff like the fonts and the size of things. I can't make my Miss Watts any bigger or in blue using HTML. We said as review, HTML uses a language called tags. Tags, that's these items that I've highlighted in green. They come within those open brackets or the close version. Everything I type inside of those brackets is lowercase. So if you've noticed when I've been coding on my coding screen, and I can zoom into this screen so you can see it better, everything I've coded between these tags is all lowercase letters. The word button, the words that I want on my website will be typed normally with capital letters and periods and punctuation, but the actual language that goes in those brackets will be lowercase according to the slides. Okay, back to this one. It is the content, and then your section starts with the open tag, and we have all kinds of tags. There's millions of tags you can use: H1, P, body, div, OL. Those are all ones that you'll be using in the future. And then you always end those with a close. So you'd have H1 open and an H1 close, P open and a P close, body open, the version of body close. Each of them has an open version and a closed version, like we've seen on the screen. Some ones that are familiar that you'll be using as you start your lessons: heading tags. There's all kinds of heading tags. The H1 is the main heading. It is the one that you will only use once. So on my entire website, I will only ever use the H1 tag once. It's kind of like the title, but that's a different tag. The H1 is your main heading, what you're calling your website. So let's say I wanted this to be a website about shoes. So this could be like fun shoes for everyone. Like that might be the name of my website. Okay, fun shoes for everyone. That's whatever you're calling it. So when you do your final project in here, and you get to choose your topic, it might be like if you pick a TV show, it might be Survivor fan page. Okay, or all about Survivor. That could be your heading. When it comes to the H tag, we also have several other heading tags. We said we can only use one H1, but I can use multiple other H tags. So I have an H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and the font size will get smaller the higher the number. So let's take a look. I'm going to come in here. Remember, only one H1, but I could have an H2, and I could say, "We love Survivor." Notice, Survivor. Notice the font size of that is smaller than the font size of my H1. Okay. Then let's say I'm going to put an H3. And you can see how much smaller that one is. H3. Facts about Survivor. Close it. Okay. And you can scroll down on my webpage and see that it is smaller. Okay. Zoom out a little bit to give us space. Okay. And then let's just type in H4 quickly. All the characters. Okay, see, tiny still. Now what you're noticing though, look at the size of H4 compared to this tag I used up here, which was P for short. It's the paragraph tag. Your H4 and your paragraph tag make a font the similar size. So most coders won't use anything less than an H4 because once you go to, like, let's say we go to an H6, just for fun to see what happens. Okay. I can scroll down. I can see it's smaller than the paragraph tag. So why would I really make a heading that small? So most people only use up to an H4. However, you can keep going down in size. There's just not much point to it. Okay, so those are the heading tags. They create headings. The paragraph tag you've seen, P, that's where you type any of like your content that you want to look like a paragraph. So if we visited the Vera Bradley site, this right here, okay, is probably a paragraph. This always together is probably like an H2. Her title, Vera Bradley, is probably her H1. These are probably like H2s or 3s. Okay, little headings. These could be, I think they're probably a different tag, but these could be what you consider an H4. Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay. That's kind of how you can look at a website. I could control I, or what is it? It's function. I'm trying to think what it is. I can pull up the inspect menu. Trying to see tools. Developer tools. There it was, Control Shift I. I could look at the website and actually see what tags she's using and where, if we wanted to find where her H's were. So if I hover on this, you could come here, happiness returns to pink, and you could find where that is in her site. I was trying to see if we could find it, but I'm not seeing it over here. Just to see if you could find what she used for the different ones. But again, that's not important. I was just curious if we could find out what she used for hers, but it does not look like it's showing us in this section. Oh, I see. Buttons. She has buttons. She has body. I can't find where she has it. Oh, it's just done differently. But anyways, you could analyze a website if you wanted to, inspecting it to see the code. Okay. And then we're going to come back to our slides, paragraph we've looked at. The other familiar tags that you'll be using throughout your coding are lists. We have two types of lists. We have a UL, which is an unordered list, which makes a bulleted list. You'll see these on websites with the navigation. Navigation is also often done as a list because it's not only the list going horizontally, but when I click on one of these, I often have a drop-down set of lists that I can use on a website. Also, another place that you can see lists is in the bottom footer navigation. These are lists. Their social media is probably a list, set of list items set horizontally. So lists are used a lot of places. Unordered list, bulleted. If I want my list to have numbers, I use an OL open, an LO close, and make an ordered list. And every item inside, remember, you can't just type words on your screen without code. Everyone gets a list item, an LI tag. So if I were to create a list here in our coding, I'm going to delete what we typed. If I wanted to create a list underneath my fan page, OL, I'm going to create actually an H2 to tell you what this list is about. Give it a title. So top 10 survivors. Okay. And I didn't close that. And then I'll start this is going to be an ordered list because it's top 10. I want it to have order. So I want it to have numbers. I'm going to do an LI open, and let's say Richard, first one, H or LI. Okay, close. That puts a number by his name. Another one, Li Rob. Okay, and I would keep making list items as many as I wanted in my list. When I finished all of my items, I would end my list with the close OL tag. Okay, and then I'm going to come back to my notes. The last tag we talked about was the body tag. This is what starts and stops your website. So when I come look at my whole website, the top tag that I see is body. And then when I stop typing all my words, the close body tag is at the end. It's just the start and stopping point of where you are typing your code every time. Okay. So I'm going to end this video now. And then after this video, we will talk about the next language.